you look at the minutes, Alexis?
Yes, I read them. Dawn, I was wondering, did you ever follow up and see that you were required to report attendees to the meeting out of curiosity?
Everybody that I have talked to says that they record every person that walks into the meeting.
You mean from other counties?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't really see any corrections that I could note. I was just wondering about following up on that question. That's all.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I would move to approve the minutes.
Second?
I'll second.
Been moved and second. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
I'm sorry, is the door in the middle of the table or is it over in the corner?
It's in the middle.
Oh, okay. I had a hard time hearing him ask questions. And then I voted aye to approve.
We'll see if that's better. I turned it like straight to the back against the air conditioner, so maybe.
Okay, thank you.
When people come in, I'll turn the air conditioner off. That will probably help a lot.
Whatever you just did, I can hear you clear too. Yeah.
I'm not here.
I didn't hear you.
She said whatever you did, I can hear you clear now too.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
I'm terribly already hearing.
Yeah,
Just gonna
she's
say.
got she got a cold or something.
Is there a piece of correspondence or a bill or anything that we need to address before the first item on the agenda?
There were several bills from Lincoln Park Manor. One was for $70.50 for faucets, paint, etc. There was a service call for $784.21 from Overhead Door. And that had to do with perform fire door drop test on 8 doors. And we had a cartridge from Phoenix for $32.76. Street refrigerant, $110. And a tampering valve for $1,713.77. We had correspondence from 12th Judicial District on Community Corrections, Juvenile Services. Wanda Backstrom is scheduled to be here for us to sign off on this report.
Yes, I saw that on the agenda.
It is on the agenda. She's scheduled to be here at 9 something, I think.
8:45.
8:45.
Thank you. So I'm wondering, since we have the bill there from Lincoln Park Manor and we were talking about budgeting you said that budget is final. I know you said we cannot increase, we can only decrease on the budget, which would work if something were to change, but what do we plan on doing about pursuing language of that statute if we are limited to anything as far as expenditures, restrictions? Or a percentage, the way that I read it, if we were to adhere to that, there's a percentage based on whether or not we are funding this out of the general fund for the homes and the age, which we are. It's not a separate mill, I understand that. It's a public road mill. But I'm just wondering, are we going to follow up on finding out if we need to be adhering to that?
I would say we need to research it, Gal.
Okay, so are we going to entertain a motion to do that?
I think we will visit with the attorney when she comes about it. It's a legal question.
Okay, what is the attorney on the agenda for today?
Well, we need an exec session for Snyder's complaint, and I assume we're going to discuss her budget.
I'd say that was the appointment that she couldn't make last week, but she made it for this week.
I'm sorry, you said executive session for what purpose?
Can't we got the file?
We need to discuss Mr. Krangle's visit with her concerning Snyder's complaint or whatever it was that he handed us.
Okay, well, I have 8:14 by my clock. Maybe I should go ahead and cut off the line so that you could correspond with Mr. Johnson, and then I'd appreciate it if you could maybe briefly fill me in, since we can't have two lines on at the same time. Would that be okay?
Yeah, we'll call you back, or you call us back about 8:45 or something.
I would like to request a favor. I'm a little bit concerned that he did not produce any paperwork, and it seems as if the initial payment that we made him, that is when he produced the original drawing, not necessarily drawing, I should call it, he produced the booklet, in other words, with the plan, and then when I spoke with him the last time he came to our meeting, he said that he had floor plans and such from the last payments that we had made him. In addition to the original plan, I think it's over $30,000 that we paid, so I think we should be requesting these documents. From what I understand, the clerk's office has not provided anything from him since he gave us the initial proposal, which we paid for separately with that grant. Correct?
Well, I think he's developed the floor plans, redid the floor plans. He had them with him the day he was here, rolled up. He only had that one copy, though, that he had mapped that out.
I assume that for $30,000 we could get a copy of a floor plan.
I assume that he will give us a copy of it as we move on. Certainly we will have a copy when any changes are made or anything is done.
Okay, well my request is that you would just follow up with that and ask him to produce the work that has cost us his billing up until this point in time. I'm a little concerned with the charges as far as what has been produced, that's all. So I will excuse myself and I'll call back in. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Don, we're ready to call him, I guess.
Campbell and Johnson, this is Jason.
Yes, we're calling for Eric Johnson.
Yes, can I tell him who's calling?
Yes, it's Lincoln County Commission.
Okay, hold 1 second. This is Eric, may I help you?
Yeah, this is Aljo Wallace, Lincoln County Commission.
Morning.
Good morning, Terry. Commissioner Finch is here. Clerk Harlow. We have a member of the public. Commissioner Flew is absent today. So, what have you got for us so far?
Okay, the reason why I had asked for a conversation is we got word through Greg Babcock that you were interested in pursuing checking out what is called VRF cooling and heating. It's variable refrigerant flow. It allows the system to have individual heating and cooling controls for various rooms versus what you have now. What you have now is all heat or all cool. The whole plant is, or building is either in a heating mode or in a cooling mode. With the variable VRF technology, it's relatively new. Came out in 1990s. It allows the system to provide cooling in one area and heating in another area using similar pipes. There's going to be modification of what you have now, but it allows for you to have more individual control than what you have now. And we wanted to confirm this is truly what you wanted to do. The reason why is we're days away from having plans ready to present to you for review, and it would be a change in that. We would have to stop, do a quick study on what you have that we can use and would have to replace, and then present that to you before we do a design.
Do you think it's gonna be twice the cost?
Well, and I did a little checking. I haven't got that. My engineer didn't tell me that, but I was reading up on the VRF, and they said sometimes it's as much as twice as much, but that is a generalization. That's not saying that's
Yeah.
the case. So, with talking with the engineer, he thought it'd be maybe 2 weeks of quick study that he can do for around $5,000 and report back to you what it can be done and what it would probably cost and what you could save in the way of energy.
Is this just for the 60 edition, or does it go into the 70?
It's for both. The problem we're going to run into with the VRF system is, with the system you have now, it has, in each room, it has the ability to bring in outside air, which is required by code, that you have so much air exchange with fresh air into the building per room. With the VRF systems, they don't have a way of pulling air from the outside in that system. So what you have to do is come up with a air intake and duct it into the room. Where it's a rooftop unit that sucks in outside air and brings it into the rooms to be tempered. And that involves ductwork and routing, where to put the ductwork, because we have fire sprinkler lines that are mounted on the walls. So we gotta find a creative way of bringing in the air and not interfere with the flow of the sprinkler systems and all that. So we're gonna have to do a little head scratching and figure out how we're gonna do that.
I guess right off the top of my head, I'm a little concerned about that, knowing that there's a possibility that the greenhouses will go into this community and we won't be using that as a nursing home, or part of it for a nursing home. The other thing is, I think you're right. We need to get on ASP on this generator. Do you think there's any disadvantage for us to separate the generator and go ahead and do it right now? And
no, because I think it's we're dealing with a different contractor than what we would have for the rest of the project. Even though the chiller plant and all that does involve some electrical work, it's kind of a subsidiary of the mechanical work, whereas the electrical generator is all electrical. So you should be able to get electrical contractors really interested in the generator. So I really don't think it's going to have much of an impact on you getting a good price.
yeah,
By splitting it off.
I think that if we're looking anywhere in the neighborhood of doubling the cost, I think I'd probably shy away from it myself.
Yeah, the initial cost is much more than what you've got, or would be going with, or what you have. The advantage is in the long term, but you would recover that difference in cost. But it all depends on how long and what you envision how long you plan to be in that building as a nursing facility, and what you envision would be the owner and the operation of the building in the future. So,
Would the chiller and stuff that we're putting in work if we did that later on, say 5-10 years down the road? Would that same chiller that we're putting in work for that system?
Probably eliminate the chiller. You go with a different type of
I see.
refrigerant system. So, and more along the lines of a heat pump. So, you would basically eliminate the chillers. So.
I think, as far as I'm concerned, we'll stick with what we've got.
Alright,
If we had a more concrete vision of what's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 years, I might have a different opinion, but
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I understand that. I would probably be along the same lines.
I think that, you know, if it was gonna remain a nursing home throughout its lifespan or whatever, then I think I'd be probably more inclined to look at that. Because I think the comfort level is quite a bit different where they can control it, but
Yes. The situation boils down to is the building was built according to the standards in those days, which didn't involve a lot of insulation. So what you've got here is a lot of energy loss going through your roof and through your sidewalls. That we're basically doing a massive introduction of cooling or
Well, if we continue on the path that we were on, would you still think that we would want to do everything together, or shall we go ahead and break this generator out and?
Really, probably wouldn't need to break it out because, like I said, the only thing on my side of things is I've been getting samples on flooring, sit down with the leading edge people to get a decision on what type of flooring. I've got the specs all written up. It's just a matter of, okay, we're going to go with terrazzo flooring versus quarry tile or whatever. I'm not sure what they want to go, but that's all it is. That's a matter of just a few days to get everything written up the way we want it. But and the engineers, I talked with them. They sent me Friday a set of check drawings to go over. We made some changes in those, and he's working on those right now. So, like I said, we're just a matter of days of turning it over to you, walking through it with you, and seeing if there's anything you want changed before we send them out for bid. So, yeah, by the end of the month, we should have things ready to send out for bid if there isn't any big changes.
Well, I'm sure that the people who are interested in bidding the generator aren't going to bid on the floor.
Yeah.
So I don't see a problem with bidding the generator separately
Okay.
myself.
Okay. The only thing on the chiller part and all that, there are some things that we have to do after pipe insulation is put in, or after certain controls are put in. So the coordinating of the architectural side of it with the mechanical side of it is kind of important on the chiller plant part of it. But the generator is pretty much everything outside. So. Oh, one other thing. On the generator, I just thought of this. You know, we had to find a place where we could put the generator, you know, the minimum amount of run per conduit and still maintain the clearance we need for codes and things like that. There are two locations we could put the generator, and I don't know if you have any preference. One would be, you know, the garage that's just south of the original building, the south wing of the original building. There's a garage, neighbor's garage that's over there. Just north of that would be a location for the generator, and the other location would be down to the west end of the trees that run along your property, your south property line. So that way we're out from under sewer lines and cleanouts and all that stuff, and but are giving you the best run on the conduit. The problem with putting it on towards the west end of the group of trees you have on your south property line is that there isn't a road or a pathway to get to the generator. And it's a diesel generator. We could look at propane. It involves some totally different generators than the diesel one, but we'll probably go to multiple generators because of what is available in the way of propane generators. But didn't know if there was any preference. The problem is the generator, when it kicks on a monthly basis to comply with the CMS and
where would that be? Just to the east of the assisted living parking lot down there?
Yeah,
We could put a rock,
could be up the hill a little bit.
yeah, we could put a rock drive up to it if we needed to.
Yeah, that's why I had drawn on the plans that you would put a gravel drive by owner.
Yeah.
I wanted to verify with you.
I think that, in my opinion, that'd be the best place to put it. Farther away from the neighbors, the better.
Yeah, and it's kind of nestled back there by the trees, so
Yeah,
it'll be visually blocked by, to the neighbors,
yeah.
and it'll be further away from their house.
I don't think there'd be an issue with us putting a drive up to it, so.
Okay, great.
We can do that though, that's
Leave
not
it
an issue.
that way on the drawing set. Well, that was the only thing I saw that, besides the variable, the VRF system. It's a nice system, but right now it's more expensive system. So,
Well, I guess, looking out 10, 15 years from now, we may not be using this as a nursing home, and I guess I feel the extra cost is probably not warranted at this time. But if we're operating it when I'm in the nursing home, I will be mad because my room isn't the comfort level I want. But I don't plan on going for a couple of months.
15 years?
So I think the other commissioner's making fun of me.
well, you're right. You're 100% right. That's the reason why I called, because
Yeah.
the potential cost
Yeah.
of putting it in, I thought may be prohibitive at this stage. And so I know it'll add comfort to the residents of the home, but we're planning on giving them a better place in the future, so maybe this isn't the best way of spending your money.
I would say that, and looking down, if there are ideas that we've had of using that facility, if it ceases to be a nursing home, I guess I don't see that we'll be needing individual rooms probably to comfort level, I guess I would say. I think the use of it will be completely different.
You've got to, when we, down the road, when we convert it into something else,
Mm-hmm.
we've got a tremendous electrical panel there.
Mm-hmm.
So we may, at that stage, look at doing through-the-wall units or PTAC units
Yeah.
under the windows. Just cut a hole in the wall, put them in, and then each room would be individually controlled. You could shut it off if nobody's in it,
Yeah.
and not heat or cool it. So that may be the route to go in the future.
So you are looking at coming to us within the next couple of weeks probably?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, and what about a copy of the floor plans that you have drawn up? Do you have an extra copy of those for the courthouse, or so we can keep them on file, or how are we going to do that?
What we're going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll get a complete set of
Okay.
what we call construction documents, which would be the plans and the specifications.
Okay.
When they're done, we'll go review it with you and tweak anything you want changed, and then whatever we send out to bidders,
Mm-hmm.
you will get an exact same copy.
Okay. All right. Okay. You have anything else, Terry?
I don't think so. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Eric, for your time, for your work, concern.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. We'll look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
All righty.
All right. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Now, are we going to call or
I think she's gonna call, she said. I said 8:45, she was calling. or somewhere around
Allergies, and I was like,
You're allergic to us?
yeah, I guess, I don't know. Humid morning, huh?
Yes, it is. Oh, well, she,
there. Oh, it's flashing. Hello? Hello? Are you there? Oh, okay, we're going back to speaker here. Watch your ears. You there?
Still here, thank you.
Okay.
okay.
Wanda Backstrom's here
Okay,
with the 12th Judicial District.
okay.
All right. Copies here of what he's talking about.
Is this what?
Yeah, you probably do have this then. Yes, that's exactly
Got
what
one
you
copy, I
have.
just got
Okay,
one copy.
everybody get one?
I did.
Okay. Oh, they only sent one?
Yeah,
Okay.
so-
Here's, I have extras here.
okay.
Okay. Okay, so.
Alexis is ill today. She's on here.
Okay, okay. So what I'm here today with is this is from for the Department of Corrections. It's the FY17 year-end program report. So this would be for our adult offenders that are on community corrections. And we submit these quarterly throughout the year, what our progress is on the goals we've set. And this is just the year-end report to summarize, and we need to have all 6 BOCCs in the district sign it. So just to summarize this for you, part of last year's programming, we received a behavioral health grant in addition to the Kansas Department of Corrections funds, and that was to implement cognitive programming for our adult offenders. And last year was our first year that we actually had a full year of offering the programs. So we have 4 levels of supervision, 1 through 4, 1 being the highest, and we were offering programming for level 2s and 3s. And we ended up having 33 offenders that participated in those programs and 29 completed them. We ran them different options, large groups, mini groups, and individual sessions, because what happens with us, as you know, with 6 counties, we have people spread throughout all 6 counties. And in order to get offenders to have a group, you know, we have to have enough people, and driving in was an issue, so that's why we ended up having mini groups and individual sessions. So we felt pretty comfortable with that, to be able to offer it to that many offenders over last year. And there's different curriculums also that they were receiving. So that was in place. Now for this next year, for FY18, we're going to implement some programming for level 1 offenders. Those are our high-risk offenders. And we have not started that yet, but like I said, we're just a month in to FY18. Then for you know, we have 3 counties that do not have substance abuse treatment in the counties, which your county is one of them, Washington and Jewel. They have to go to Salina for substance abuse treatment for the county. So what we were able to do in the behavioral health fund for FY18 is they did fund transportation costs, so we can transport offenders in to Salina for treatment, because we felt like we had offenders that weren't getting the treatment they needed. And that's probably part of the reason why some of them ended up going back to court and getting revoked. And so that brings us to the 75% success rate, which is what DOC ultimately wants us to have every year. Success to them, that 75% success rate, what that actually means is if they're revoked and walk into prison and serve their sentence, that counts against us as far as being unsuccessful if they're revoked. Now, if their probation is terminated unsuccessful, that doesn't, but if they're revoked and go serve their underlying prison term, then they're unsuccessful. We actually we were supposed to be at 75%. We were at 64% at the end. for our successful completion rate. We had 23 offenders that were condition violators, meaning that they violated conditions of probation and went back to court and eventually were revoked. We had 6 offenders that were revoked for new convictions, and 5 of those convictions were felony offenses and 1 for misdemeanor offense. So when you look at the population that was actually revoked for offenses, that's only 7%, where the rest of that is conditional violators. So we feel like with this cognitive programming that we implemented last year, and then by bringing on some programming for level 1s, our high-risk offenders, and getting that transportation money to make sure that people are getting the substance abuse treatment, we're hoping that for FY18 we're going to see a change in that number.
So is that substance abuse mandatory?
Yes.
And so in Lincoln County, who transports those?
Our staff.
One of your staff?
One of our staff. Yeah, we put them in a county car, they pick them up, take them to treatment.
I see.
Not only substance abuse treatment, but also our sex offender treatment is down there, and so they can go for that.
Okay, and so they wait on them while they're in treatment and then
Yes.
bring them back?
Yeah. So they're on the clock, so that is
Yeah,
costing
yeah.
us money, but it's the only way
Yeah,
to get them there. Because even if we try to do things like gas cars, to get to the offenders, they don't have reliable transportation, to get down there. So, we try to, if we've had situations where we've had it's been a group treatment program, outpatient setting in a group, and we've been able to transport multiple offenders at the same time, but we'll pick them up from other places.
So is there any in-house where they have to stay? Is that ever court ordered?
Inpatient treatment, yeah, they have to qualify for that, and it's based on, they'll do an assessment to determine the level of care or treatment that they need. We really don't have a whole lot of input on that. It's it's state funded, and they always start with outpatient first, and then, inpatient. But yeah, and they go various places in the state for that. I mean, the Lina does have an inpatient program, but they go to Dodge City a lot, Wichita, and a women's program in Lawrence, so they're scattered throughout the state. But a lot of times when they come out of inpatient treatment, then they have to do outpatient for follow-up, and that's where we get into
Yeah.
treatment. So anyway, so that's where we ended up this year, and where we're planning to go for 18. And we have a plan in place. Nobody said anything from KDSE about you didn't make your 75%, we're taking your money. That's not the situation. But if we would not show improvements, and we've not, I'm not sure, I was looking back, I don't know that we've ever not made it. Last year we were right at 75%. But I think we had some other barriers going on this last year that prohibited us from getting to that 75%. Because really, when you look at that number of offenders, 6 offenders being revoked because of new offenses, that's relatively low. And the rest are conditional violators, like they're testing positive, they're failing treatment, some of those things, not having a job. And we do have another new piece this year, it's called OWDS, Offender Workforce Development Specialist. We have a staff person that's going through the training right now. It's very intensive training, and they basically are teaching the staff person how to work with these offenders to get them employed and working with employers in the community. So we're hoping that's another piece that she won't be completely done with the training until November. So, we're not going to have a full year of it, but we're hoping that that's going to be helpful too. Because we just didn't have those extra hands to, be talking to the community and the employers. And there's some incentives for employers that hire some of these people through this program too. So I just need your approval and a signature. And of course, any more questions that you have.
Well, I don't know that DOC has time to think about cross-judiciary right now. I think they have other problems.
Yeah, like prisons are full. That's why we have our 75% thing, because, the prisons are full.
I think they have a few other problems that are more pressing. Okay, I need a motion to sign the year-end report for Community Corrections.
I so move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and second that the chairman sign Department of Corrections, adult supervision, final report for 17. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion's carried. Do you want a copy of this, Tom?
Yes, please.
Is there any way that I could ask to maybe re-angle the phone again?
It's still there.
Do I need to sign this one? I don't need to
No,
sign it.
no.
I think you're kinda in the same place. We don't have the air conditioner on. I don't know if we can get it better or not, Alexis, but.
What
Can
are,
you hear Wanda at all?
I could hear most of what she was saying. It's not the background noise. I just feel like maybe for some reason the angle was wrong because I could hear, I'd say 90%, but there were little cutouts, and it was almost as if maybe she turned her head or something, and I couldn't hear what was coming up.
We'll change the angle here just a little bit and see if it helps.
I can hear you fine just right now, so that's great.
Okay.
what about the juvenile side?
Okay.
What are you making progress or?
Yeah, I'm pulling hair out. Oh, there are so many changes on the juvenile side. We are still learning. There's so much to learn. And, Senate Bill 367 passed, and then House bills for first substitute. Senate Bill 42 passed, which made changes to 367. So we're learning things. Thank you. Judge Kedney had put together a local task force for us to work with, which included Daryl Miller, prosecutor from Jewell County. Sorry. Regina Thompson, she's our advisory board chair. She's also a defense attorney. And then Judge Wright from Mitchell County and Judge Nelson from Republic County. And that's our local task force that's been very, very helpful, working with Dawn and I, my assistant director, on trying to figure out, there were so many things that had to, we need some local decision on, and then, guidance through the statute. We're not lawyers, we don't know how to interpret that. And it's just, there's been so many collaborative things between Office of Judicial Administration and Department of Corrections and Topeka, which has been a very slow process. Those two groups have not really worked together in the past, and that's a new thing. There's been some bumps in the road with that, but as far as for us, we're in the middle of writing there's another grant they released just recently, and I think, well, no, it would have been Cloud probably got that. It went to the BOCCs, but we're writing it. It's a reinvestment grant for reinvestment funds, and then a regional collaborative grant. And what that money is coming from is the savings from the kids not being in out-of-home placements, so they're putting that money back into the community. But of course, they're telling us what we have to write it for. And our dollar amount was like $47,000 for the reinvestment grant. We're not doing the collaborative. We had about 6 weeks to pull this together, and we had to use an evidence-based program that was on the list of approved programs. So trying to figure out what program fit for our area, because so many of those programs are group settings, and the rules on those programs, you have to have so many people in your group, you have to offer it so many times a week. Well, we just don't have the numbers to have a group. So we look for a program, and we have one in mind. Like I said, we're in the middle of that. That grant is not due until like September 5th. So we're working on that right now. A lot of changes in juvenile intake and assessment, and we've been out to see all of law enforcement. We need to go back out again. And then our immediate intervention program, IIP, we're hoping we'll have that probably up and running maybe by September 1. So it's just, there's a lot to do, and it's something that we just can't do by ourselves in the office. We've, got to get all the players involved, which is fine. It's just that when you have 6 counties and 9 different law enforcement agencies, 6 judges, 6 prosecutors, it's a, so But everybody's been in the district has really just pretty much, they've been working with us, asking for guidance, willing to collaborate, so that's good. But yeah,
So you think there will be a significant decrease in lockups?
yes, yeah. Especially detention, because, are you on the detention board? You are, okay. We have to do that Kansas detention assessment instrument, and if they don't score on that, they don't go to detention. The laws changed before, it used to be if it was a felony, danger to self or others, that's out. It's the tool, they have to score on the tool. I just don't think we'll have very many scores.
So do we put those back in the community under supervision of some kind?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, at intake time, if they don't go to detention, then they're probably going to go home. And what we're offering to the courts is that court services could do bond supervision on those youth, pending any adjudication. But that's a lot different than being locked up in detention, being at home on bond supervision. I don't know that we've got enough things in place. We've thought about trying to do electronic monitoring house arrest. But again, that would be, the parents would have to fund that. We have families that come through that don't have the funding. I don't know if the counties would consider funding that versus what they're paying in detention costs. But right now, you guys have a contract, right, that you pay X amount of dollars for a year. So what happens to that when the numbers drop? I'm curious.
See, that's our
Is
real
that a
problem.
question?
That's
Okay.
our real problem is, how are you going to operate a facility with no kids in it?
Right.
But you gotta have the facility, because in case,
You have one.
in case you have one, you've gotta have one. You've gotta have 24-hour,
Right.
supervision, and you've got a building that's gotta be ready
Right.
to accept 10 or one,
Mhm.
So yeah, I think we're budgeting now for 800,000, 850,000 among the counties, which of course Lincoln County's small and we don't have much. But the budget is well over $1 million,
Right.
So where are we gonna, it's gotta shrink, and it is shrinking. Personnel is shrinking.
Right.
But you still have this problem of, if you have somebody, what are you gonna do?
Right.
And
Right.
you gotta have that facility. And of course, the other problem is that not all counties joined, and they only pay when they
When
send
they use it.
somebody, but, you kind of have to, we've gotta have these places, I guess is what
Right.
I'm saying.
Do you know, Al, all 6 of our counties, is that the right word, a contract?
It's a consortium, yeah,
Okay.
but no, there's more than our district.
Yeah, but are all 6 of ours on that, or are any of our
See.
counties opting to only pay when they use it?
Let's see, we have let's see, I've done-
Washington, Republic,
Republic.
Jewel, Cloud, Mitchell, Lincoln.
Yes, they're all.
They're all in,
they're
okay.
Clay is probably the one that's kind of in the middle that isn't part of it.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious about that. You're right, because,
Yeah.
the counties are still gonna be putting up the money just to have the space, but
Yeah,
yet,
you may not have it
may
in
not
there.
have
Of course.
anybody in there.
And we've been paying in, we haven't had anybody in there for, I don't know, went 3 or 4 years we didn't have anybody. But this year we've already used 15 days.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
you never
never
know
know.
when that's gonna hit.
right, exactly, yeah, so,
And we are seeing a decrease in numbers. We were averaging about 20 to 23, and now we're down to anywhere from 14 to 17
Okay.
now. So, we've
Yeah.
lost
and
considerably.
there's less kids in,
Yeah.
after adjudication and disposition and out-of-home placements, there's less and less kids. But, of course, the concern for us is, the cities have a lot of the programming, but we don't have a lot of the programming.
Yeah.
We've got a couple things on the state contract, functional family therapy, FFT, and the clinical associates and sex offender program. But FFT is in-home based intensive family services, and we do have some families involved in that, so we are using that. So, and those are free services. The families are not paying anything for those services, so. That's a good thing. So anyway, we have a lot to learn to answer your question. Yeah, a lot of changes, trying to figure it out. And, you guys have that case here or there that doesn't fit the
Yeah.
mold. And, we had that come up already with Kansas detention risk assessment tool the other day. We just started using that in the past 30 days, and we had the first thing that came up where that case did not fit at all.
Yeah.
And so, okay.
Okay.
Well,
well,
anything
thanks.
else?
Thanks, Wanda, for your coming down.
Thank you.
Have a safe
If you ever
trip.
have any questions, call me.
All right.
Okay.
Will do.
Thank you,
See
Wanda.
ya. Bye-bye.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
Alexis is on the speakerphone.
Okay. Moving along with chip seal, hopefully we get finished with Barnard either late today or tomorrow morning.
Really?
Get done.
Good weather for it, isn't it?
Oh, we chanced rain one day and we got delayed a little bit, but other than that, it was well worth the chance on that
It appears they're doing a nice job. We'll
one.
get plenty of rock on it. And of course, you know, hotter than it's been, we don't know how bad it's gonna bleed. But
The new spreader working good?
Yes, it's taken them some time to work out some of the kinks, but I think it'll work fine for us. On OS 145 Coveman Bridge, they got handrails poured last Thursday. So hopefully within 2 to 3 weeks, we can get some gravel on it and it should be
Will you please
ready for
move the
traffic.
phone closer to the edge of the table to the,
I think we've got the cord stretched. Is that it? Got a little bit more? Okay. Got it stretched pretty tight, but we found some more slack. See if that's better.
Michael, if you could just speak up a little bit, please, your voice is a little soft in the background there.
Right. Now, I was just talking about OS 145. Hopefully within 3 to 4 weeks, we can get gravel on it and it'll be open for traffic. It'll be cured out enough they'll let us start traveling it. Visited with one of the landowner's sons up there where the Prairie Dog Town dam washed out. And he said that he'd get back to me if they decided that they would invest money to repair the dam, and he has not got back to me. So it looks like he will not, or they will not be thinking about investing any money in repairing that. So we're gonna have to look at doing something different with drainage on that road. I didn't know if you guys wanted me to look into engineering to have them run calculations so we could potentially deal with that location at the same time we're dealing with some of the others there on Union Drive or not.
Whose property does the dam rest upon?
What's that?
On whose property is the dam?
It's on 2 different landowners. One is Lauren Heller and one is Dwight Heller. But the breach is over on Lauren Heller's side of the property.
And so my question is, whether or not the dam is repaired, are we looking at a difference in water flow through that area?
Yeah, there's a large difference in water flow in that area. It is now going over the road quite often when we get rains now.
Well, I did see where it's going over. I understand the dam broke and that's what created the large wash. But whether the water is being retained or not, the rain runoff is what I'm asking. But now that the water is out of the dammed pond, are we looking at any more runoff than we would have been otherwise?
Yeah, the dam has no storage capacity now. The water just comes down the channel. It's not stored in the dam. You know, the drainage you used to get would only occur when the dam overflowed, which was very rare, but it did happen.
I guess I was under the assumption that when we talked to Tanner, is it Yost?
Yes.
That
discussed that location with Tanner. The dam that breached is further east than the other 3 locations that we are working on currently.
So we're not talking Union east of 30th.
Yes, it would be east of 40th. Actually, it'd be east of 50th. No. It'd be between 40th and 50th. On Union.
So you're saying this is a third potential culvert situation on Union?
On Union, yes, it would be a third one, yes.
Okay. Okay.
I would guess we're gonna have to do something, so.
NRCS and DWR have that dam as permitted, but it's exempt because it is a low hazard dam, so they have no jurisdiction over having them get it repaired. You all are fine for me looking into having
I assume you probably need to.
Tanner, at a minimum, figure out the size of the drainage, and then
Yeah.
we'll discuss what we'll need there.
Would this be maybe a good time to maybe consider entering into an agreement with them if you have projects like that?
Potentially could be.
What do you mean for the one day a week or
Yeah, one day a month.
one day a month? That was 800, what, was that 800?
Eight. I
825
have that with me,
I have it down, I think it was 825 or 850.
plus mileage, and it was gonna be around $860 or $850 a ton.
I think the reason we were holding off was because of the budget till the first of the year, I think it was. We weren't gonna be able to build anything other than one.
What did it cost for those others, do you remember?
To build them,
No, for his work. When he worked on.
I have not received a bill on those
Okay.
yet. And if I did receive it, I have not viewed it.
Good, okay. Well, I think we're gonna have to do something. Because that certainly has changed the flow of the water on that road, and it's gonna take it out, probably.
It's definitely gonna create continued maintenance that we do not want.
And that is a major road through the northern side of the county.
You know, if we're gonna fix all the other locations, there's no need leaving one that's gonna have issues.
Why don't you kind of research and see what the engineering bill was on those others?
Okay.
And then we can kind of base our decision on whether to enter into a contract or whether to do it individually.
And since we're speaking dams, I got this report from Merrick, I believe, Engineering. And it's Emergency Action Plan for DLC 0167, which is the Highland Lake Dam. And we as in the county, are the dam operators. The major property owner will be Michael Unruh. Division of Water Resource Hazard Classification is high. It was designed by the USDA and NRCS and built in 1956. At the end of the day, what this all boils down to is an emergency action plan that they want us to use if and when there would be a breach of that structure. And it is a lengthy report, 50-some pages, but a lot of it's repeat. Basically, it's a breakdown of who calls who, when, and why, and whatnot. With us being the operators, we are pretty much the top of the food chain on that. And then it breaks down to either the sheriff's office or emergency management, stuff like that. And then it breaks down even further. And you guys are more than welcome to look this over, but it shows an inundation map. It shows the roads and homes that could potentially be affected by this.
Who's paying for the inspection job? Dan, if it's, what do you say is a high cost?
It's a high risk. It's a high
So
risk
I think those have to be inspected
frequently.
every 2-3 years, maybe every year. I
Maybe
don't-
5. I'm unsure. Don't quote me. I just know.
I
that
know, yeah, those are on the watershed.
every
That's why I
5
wondered why, because we've never had an inspection, have we?
Not,
that I'm aware
not
of.
that I've been dealing with. I know
Those
that
are several $100s.
I think that we've just
Ignored
ignored
it.
the,
it's been a headache.
I guess I don't know how we got use it, how we got ownership of
And
it.
they said at the end of the day, since we are the operator of the dam, and if we want to self-breach that dam, let it drain out, then we have no ownership of a dam. Landowner might not care for that, but I guess if they want a pond, they can put one in which we are not an operator for it.
I don't think he gets any benefit from the water anyway. The water's all across the road, isn't it?
It's very true. So, it's one of those real iffy things that nobody wants to deal with it.
I think it's I think it's one of those that we get in court and last for years. The only trouble if you breach that thing is basically I think you have to restore that back to the,
Probably.
because
That
we
could
have
be-
talked about on the watershed doing away with one or two, and that's not a good idea. It costs so much money to put it back the way it was, so. And the county had nothing to do with building of that dam, is the way I understand it.
No, it had nothing to do with
It
it.
was
Division of Water Resources, the
Division of Water-
NRCS.
the
office.
NCRS and the landowner. But we ended up with ownership of it.
What section is that in, may I ask?
It's Highland.
It's in Highland, yeah.
It would be Highland, section 13. Dam will set in section 12 right there. So we are, with the emergency action plan, I guess what it boils down to is I'm supposed to set up a tabletop exercise at a minimum of once every 5 years to go through the process with sheriff's office, emergency manager, the NRCS officials, and DWR officials and all that. So I think it's something that I'll try to get done sooner than later. That way we can have the monkey off our back for at least the next 5 years. You guys are,
No, I don't want to read. I've seen several.
it's just a lot of redundancy.
Yes.
Probably nothing new there.
The individual I spoke with that does this report says that they typically do them on a 4-page document, but this is a document the feds have came up with, and it's in 50-some documents now, or 50-some pages.
Yeah.
Last thing I have here for your approval would be our annual bridge inspections, which we have 3 bridges on that list now for inspection here this fall. The cost would be $275 each, with a total of $825 to do the 3 bridges. I have that sheet with those bridges on it, I don't know where I put it.
These are the ones we do annually.
Annually, yes. I think last year we had 12 or 13 on that list. And after they did their annual on it, they moved a big majority of them to 24-month
Yeah.
cycle instead of the 12.
Michael, are you saying this is something you annually are contracting with someone to do for all necessary bridges to be inspected?
Yes.
And is that bid out?
No.
Is this the same company that it has been for how many years?
2. This will be our second year on annual inspection, and they've done our biannual inspection once.
We changed companies about 3 years ago.
Okay.
We went to
with
Kirk and
that,
Michael.
do they do any recommendations? Is there anything besides a checkbox for the inspection? Basically is what I'm asking.
I don't understand your question. I guess I didn't hear you.
If they're coming to do the bridge inspection, you know, I understand we're probably getting the basic package, please come and inspect our bridge. If they're finding anything, are they giving critique analyses and recommendations along with that?
Yes,
Yes.
they give us a report with that.
And is that a choice, an option to pay for it, or is that something that,
This is a federal mandate. We have to do these inspections.
I understand the inspections are, I'm asking about the follow-up on what,
They have guidelines that they have to follow. And this company, I believe, does a very good job in getting us the information we need from those inspections and providing us a report.
and so where are we in the process of following up on their recommendations from last year's report?
Time, employees, money.
Well, some of the major ones we address in
We've addressed a lot of the stuff, but as far as every issue on every bridge, we cannot do that efficiently anyways.
Okay, I entertain a motion to have Kirk and Michael do the annual bridge inspection of 3 bridges at $275 apiece.
I'd so move.
It's been moved. Do I have a second? I will second it. Any discussion?
How soon will that be happening?
Probably in October or November.
Okay.
Are these fracture critical ones?
No, just annual.
For all of them?
Critical, or the critical.
Just 3?
3 years. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Yeah, is there something else you? So when they finish the Barnard, they're going to go to the other roads and,
Yes.
and
Start going around doing some more patching.
patching.
Make the loop through Missile Base, Beverly, which will probably seal Beverly also. It's due this go around. We'll go Westfall, Sylvan, that's for Denmark, and then around Lincoln here.
So we're looking at probably another couple weeks.
Been put
A bit of
into,
two.
are the graders arrived, or was I under the impression that they were arriving?
The new motor graders? Yeah, we've had those for several weeks.
New one? I'm sorry, what did you say?
We've had those for several weeks, yes.
And they're in the rotation now?
Yes.
And how do the operators, how are they responding to that?
There's a little bit of mixed feelings at the moment. You'll have to give them some time to get used to them.
So does that mean that we're going to list the equipment that you had been compiling to sell all at once, or?
Correct.
Okay. And have any of the blade operators on their various routes received any of that concrete material that was crushed to do any experimental placement and see where it could be utilized?
That is negative. We have been chip sealing, so our trucks have not been hauling gravel here for several weeks.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Anything else for Michael? Well, thank you, Michael. Have a
Thank you.
good week.
You all
Thank
do
you
the
for
same.
having this cool weather while these guys are chip sealing, and
It's unheard
I
of.
enjoyed it. Would you please send a little rain?
I will try my best.
Because I have a feeling things are gonna roll pretty fast when the sun comes out to 95.
Yes. And you all have a wonderful week.
Do.
Me too. Don, you have anything for us today?
I could use a short recess.
Well, why don't we break? Alexis, you wanna stay on the line and you wanna call back in about, well, we don't have anything till 10:15. You wanna call back at 10 o'clock? Or do you wanna stay on the line?
That's fine, I can call back. You said that 10:15 we have county attorney, is that the last?
No, we have Jason Brown at 10:15. I assume that's on painting the courthouse?
No, that was the guy that got the bid for the health department and the
Oh, about
sheriff's office.
about the
He
gutters?
wants- he wants to add, I think, to his bid for a steep increase. And, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, John, you wanted to add?
I think he wants to add to the bid for the health department, or the old, well, it's a storage unit, but it's our old health department building for a steep increase, but I think that he should have bid that to begin with. A steep allowance, I don't know what they call it, I'm not a contractor, but, so I told him he would need to
Wait, in
visit with you
person,
guys.
if you come in person,
I didn't hear you.
Okay, you'll have to repeat that.
is he coming to the meeting?
Yes,
Is he going to
yes.
the meeting? That's what he scheduled himself for?
Yeah, 10:15.
Okay, well, I'll just call you back and I guess we'll have to see what he says then.
Yeah, so you're gonna call back between 10 and 10:15 sometime, right?
I will do that.
Otherwise, we'll be recessed till then.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alexis.
So you're recessing completely?
Yes, we're recessing completely. I think that'll be the easiest. Yes.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Well, I don't know, you have, shall I go get Deborah?
Oh yeah, I never thought about that when I told her she could enter.
Yeah.
That's one of the long timers too.
See where you live, in Marion Township, it's very small.
Yeah.
Townships in the city.
Deborah has some stuff for us. So she came in before Jason Brown.
Oh, she has his information, he's not coming?
We don't know.
No. Deborah has something else.
Yeah.
I'm just filling a vacancy on the
She's
agenda.
filling a little time for us.
My,
Oh, I'm sorry.
that's okay. What I was coming about today is Columbus Day. Are you guys wanting to do something again like we've done in the past? We usually call it a training day. Whether it's last year, it was more about benefits and whatnot. It would be a really good opportunity and a good day, as it has been in the past, to go over the health insurance and all the changes for the health insurance. We always have the vendors that want to come and see the employees, so for some of that, that could be a good day to do that. And one of the things that LaDonna would like for us to do that day, if possible, and if not, then she wants to set something up on another day, is that she feels like we need to concentrate more on educating our employees on HIPAA regulations and how to handle some of those situations that come up in a better way. And she has an individual who could do some training for the county. She said that she's talked to her about that if she did, she wants it to be realistic scenarios and examples in their real day-to-day work that would help them understand a little bit better what their responsibilities, obligations, and duties underneath the law are. And she thinks that it would be a great reminder and refresher for those that need it.
Yeah, I think with the health insurance and some of the other things, I think we need to.
So if you guys are okay, maybe we can kind of plan something for that day as we have in the past. There is a cost associated with the individual that LaDonna has. It says here that the cost will be limited to round trip mileage of about $181 and the cost will be limited to round trip mileage of approximately $181 and a travel allowance of $75. But she's not very expensive. LaDonna's listened to her speak, and she said she's very, very realistic approach to helping people understand HIPAA. So I'm guessing from what LaDonna's saying, it won't be maybe more than $250, maybe $3.
Who was she employed through?
Her name is Susan Thomas, and she is. She presented at the KALHD, which is the Kansas Association of Local Health Departments, earlier this year, and that's where LaDonna met her and visited with her. And I'm not sure what the name of her consulting firm is. It's what she apparently does. LaDonna found her. She believes that she would be one of the best people to come in and to give some training better than one of us could do.
So I'm confused what you're asking. She's just going to provide some HIPAA training in addition to us talking about our health insurance options if we do an employee meeting.
What we have done in the past is on Columbus Day, we call it like a training day or a meeting day, benefit day, and we set up, like last year what we did was we did some K-work training that our workers' compensation provider suggested that we provide to employees. We did those through webinars that we held right there we did at the Finch Theater last year. At the same time, then we had a time slot where we talked about the health insurance and the changes for the upcoming year and open enrollment. At the same time, next door in the community room, we had like AFLAC, Leaders Life, Legal Shield, some of those other supplemental insurance providers come that day rather than having them come out 4 or 5 different days throughout the year. So basically we would schedule a day's worth of activities for the employees, and one of the meetings or one of the activities that there would be that this lady would speak about HIPAA training for the employees.
What's the date of Columbus Day this year?
It is on it's Monday, October 9th.
October 9th. Okay.
Yes. Typically, we do not observe that as a holiday, yet a lot of others do. So it's always been a good day to do that because most people assume that we're closed for Columbus Day.
Yeah, that sounds like a good choice.
fine with me.
Yeah, I think probably go ahead, if it, kind of set it up and see how long it's gonna take, you know, if we don't need to meet till after.
And I don't know, I can
noon, that's
contact
fine.
K-Work and see if there's any updates and
Yeah.
some things that they'd like for us to do.
But, yeah, kind of get a schedule and see how much time we're gonna take, you know, if it's gonna take more than a half a day, or,
Okay,
you know,
okay.
so we can be a little flexible, maybe we'll be open part of the time.
Okay, we could do that.
Yeah. But if it's gonna take all day, you know, her presentation, if it takes 2 hours, it's probably gonna take all day.
LaDonna said that what she gave there was very realistic, and she said that sometimes they give you, she felt like if they gave examples to the staff on more of what they deal with every day, it'd be easier for them to understand. And she said that the presentation wouldn't be long, that way they wouldn't get bored, and they wouldn't lose focus or lose their attention, and there would be time to ask questions and whatnot, so.
I'm not sure that maybe they don't need some review on first aid and blood pathogens. You know, sometimes we do that,
What did we do last year?
but I never think that's too much education,
Okay.
especially now that hepatitis C is seemingly kind of rampant in the baby boomer age.
Okay.
And it's also a precursor to cancer too. I understand that they've decided that there's a relationship there to possible cancers developing because of
I think last year we did, there were different workplace safety things. I think one of them was on bloodborne pathogens.
Wasn't okay.
K-Work always has some examples of some things they'd like us to do. We did harassment discrimination training. We did, it actually works nice to do it there because when they were webinars, Dawn was able to run them through onto the screen. Last year. No. And it worked nice for the employees because then they could sit down below.
There's plenty of room there.
Yes. And it's one of the few locations that there is that we can get all the employees together at.
Central.
Okay, well, I'll visit with LaDonna, see how long the
Okay.
lady will take. We can kind of look at some other options and then see whether it would be a day or a half a day or how you want to handle that.
Okay. Sounds good, Deborah. Anything else for Deborah?
No, I think that sounds good. We could just try to put together that tentative schedule and work on it before that day comes.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you.
That's it.
When school start?
Thursday. They had,
This Thursday?
Today was in service, first day back for the teachers. They had their back to school breakfast for the teachers and whatnot today, and then they start Thursday. Full
Kids.
swing, here in Lincoln. Sylvan, I think, they have another week before they start. Yeah. Some of the college kids have already gone and started already.
Yeah.
We had one of them from the store, she moved in this weekend. But I think some of them have another week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day, Deborah.
The contractor's gonna come in about that steep allowance. He wanted to call K-Work and I told him no, that he could not, and that his bid was his bid, so I think he's gonna come in and want you guys to pay. Or modify his bid, allow him to.
But we're not getting anything from the insurance, are we? For it?
No, well, I probably could. I said something to Jess about it, and he said, blah, 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 yeah. But he hasn't even worked the car
But if we're
estimates
gonna
yet.
modify it, we need to rebid it,
Yeah.
be my thing. Just rebid it, if that's what they wanna do. Jail.
The health department. I think he bid something for the jail for the second story. Here, I have them here. There's the two bids he did. I just didn't think it was my place to allow a modification to a bid. I'm sorry. It's a little
Yes,
warm
I
in here.
think it is. It's gonna be stuff in over it.
I don't think I do. I'm here. I did right off to the side though. Here. I think those are the only the approved bids. I don't think I think the others are down below, but off to the side, warehouse storage. Oh, boy,
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
I think if we actually, be pretty close.
Mr.
I'm early.
Yeah, Jason Brown's supposed to come, but
Okay.
so. You got a cozy on your cup.
Yeah. Supposed to.
Keep you from burning your hands. Or keep them from freezing your hands. One or the other.
Some days you just need a little coffee, so today was one of those days.
One of those days you needed coffee.
Monday.
Monday.
you go down and get the other bids if you want to.
No, I think we're gonna alter it, we'll just rebid it.
I do too, yeah, I don't.
I think that's
See.
a fair way to do it.
Alexis, Jason Brown isn't showing up. Don said that he was wanting to alter his bid because of the steepness of the roof. I guess my feeling, Terry's feelings is if we will not allow a bid to be altered unless we rebid it.
Right, you and Terry had said that earlier, and
Yeah.
you just reiterated. I agree.
Yeah, I don't think we can do that.
Was that just on one of the two?
Yeah, it was on the storage building roof out back of the courthouse there. Apparently the insurance company doesn't allow for high or steep. They have an allowance that they give you for high, and they have an allowance they give you for steep. And he felt like it needed to be steep, and they didn't allow for it. So he was wanting to increase his bid to allow for steep. I think he should have known when he looked at it that it was steep. So.
Right, and that doesn't even sound like that's our jurisdiction. If they're calling the shots and they're paying.
Yeah.
Should we discuss someone contacting him to let him know that the commission will not make any changes to any previously revealed bids? And if he's not willing to go forward, then we can make a decision as to what we need to do?
I guess I think the ball's in his court. If he's not satisfied with his bid, then he's going to have to come in and visit with us. And if he doesn't show up, I assume that means everything's on go, as far as I know.
Okay.
I need to check downstairs, Don, make sure you're not dead in
I can.
there. I can do it.
I would have thought he'd have come look.
I would think he realized nobody was there. Maybe not.
I don't see anything of him. I think we'll just move on. We've waited 10 minutes. Jennifer's here. I guess the first thing, Jennifer, is that we probably should tell you that we budgeted $125,000 on the bottom line. We kind of took, I guess what I did was I kind of took the excess above 1.4% and split it with you. I think that from your letter to us concerning the increase needed, I don't think there's any doubt that we have more requirements. I understand there's 7 in the jails today, and they're going to get 1 more out of Missouri. So,
Yes, we're full. We'll be housing in Mitchell County.
yeah, and I think we have some jury trials coming up
I have 3 potentially going this year.
before the first of the year.
Yes.
I guess the other thing that we've discussed, and you said in your letter about bringing an employee onto the county payroll, I have some concerns. Number one, they're not working in the courthouse, so therefore it's pretty hard for us to keep track of if they're doing county business or private business, since you have a private practice as well. Realizing that we do not pay you as a full-time attorney, so certainly you would be doing that. I understand that there is probably an insurance, but as I went through and figured out what that cost for that employee was going to be, that hourly wage was considerably more than we're paying courthouse employees.
Which is completely, I mean, and I'm not saying that it has to be that.
No, I'm not, but I understand that if you're going to include insurance in it, it's got to be that way. So, I guess my feeling is that I would rather continue a contractual relationship with you, and that means that you get the county work done, and I guess you answer to the voters, just as I do. So, I guess we would set your salary, move everything else under, my feeling was to move everything back under contractual.
Okay.
Do you have any idea how much the caseloads have increased in the last 2 years?
Well, 3 years ago, we were averaging about 50 criminal cases a year. Last year, I was about 98 is what I topped out. This year will be commensurate with that. I think gone are the days where we don't have a full jail. I've tried to not be reactive to that with my budget. I've tried to be very fiscally conservative with my budget because I don't want to increase something that doesn't need to be increased. However, I've looked at that, and bottom line is, this isn't a part-time job for me. It's a full-time job. I work nights, I work weekends, I'm on call all the time, and I understand that. And I haven't come to this board requesting a considerable increase for myself. When I first started, I got paid $24,000 a year. It has doubled over the course of 17 years, and I'm very appreciative of that. However, a lot of my time should be dedicated to my felony cases, and it's not, because I'm being pulled to my traffic, my misdemeanor, my child needed care cases, and that's where my staff comes into play. We've had 2 murder cases here in the last 5 years, and I can tell you that there were people who served in this capacity that never tried one the entire time they worked. I think that, and we just had one in Tesket this weekend. So the game has changed, is how I would describe it. And I am very aware of the fact that my office staff is not in the courthouse. have thought about that. I've struggled with that. I do not think the upstairs room is sufficient. Just the other day, I do struggle with not having that room, as I had a big hearing the other day. My victim had to have contact with the defendant. It was very traumatic for her. I didn't have space to put her. I struggle with that because instead of working on what I need to be working on, I'm worrying about where people are strategically placed on the floor. And I know that. I really truly believe that at some point this board has got to talk about a law enforcement center. I think that there has to be some discussion about our jail, the working environment of our deputies, and I would be overjoyed if there was a way that I could be close proximity to the jail and the sheriff's office in an office capacity as we work very, very closely together. The problem I have, I think, with all of this is I want it to be as fair as possible. But if I were to say that it's fair at 50-50, it's not for me. Because it's like a 75-25. My office is commandeered many times where it is shut down because I'm dealing with law enforcement issues. I need to have privacy, I need to have all of that. And so my law firm doesn't necessarily need the space that I have there, but the county attorney's office does. That's the issue. But I want to move,
Jennifer, if I may interrupt then. How much is the county paying in rent for that external facility that we use at your private law firm?
$400, and I pay the same.
Okay. And there has been question as to the contractual payments that we make monthly. If 400 of that is rent, that leaves $4,200, and there was a misunderstanding the week before last, I believe, that included supply commodities type purchases, but those are billed separately from what we pay in that check every month to Law O'Hare for $4,600.
Right, that does not include the commodities that I purchase for the county attorney's office.
Right, and then there's also the contract that we have with the printer. The county pays for that, which is in your office.
Right.
Okay, so we have quite a few expenses that have been externally allocated, I'll say, and my concern is that if the workload is extremely intense, maybe we need to look at more of a full-time position instead of paying staff who are not necessarily, I don't know who you were planning on hiring or what that hiring process is going to look like, but for the county to take on an additional insurance policy when we're already providing a county position for the elected official, why are we not looking at a full-time position there instead of a full-time understaff?
Like you're wanting to hire another attorney?
No, I'm saying why would you not want to be full-time yourself instead of remain part-time and then hire a full-time staff person who's clerical?
I guess the issue has never really presented itself. How we've historically done it is it's always been part-time. I know other counties are looking at that. Ellsworth specifically has approached that because the workload has become a lot. It has become a very specific area of the law to practice in. There's many county attorneys who maintain the part-time but then run in another county so they have full-time status but handle two counties. That has been happening. I mean, I'm not opposed to having the discussion at all. I just feel like at some point something's got to give. I mean, how we've done it, in my opinion, isn't how it's going to work going into the future. I'm willing to work with the county. I've always been willing to work with the county. I feel like the amount that comes in is fair. I also pay a large amount of expenses too. But I'm open to things, Alexis. I'm not willing to discuss how this needs to work. I would just like that discussion to be in conjunction with, obviously our other law enforcement and our sheriff and all those other things. So that we're all on the same page as to how this is gonna move forward.
I would think that,
Well, just looking at the raw numbers, when you have a potential $22,000 employee benefit package for one person, plus a salary, let's just round it off at $35,000, technically we could increase the position of part-time county attorney to full-time county attorney and only spend that $35,000 salary increase, excluding a $22,000 benefits package. If you see what I'm saying, I'm just looking at raw numbers.
No, I understand that.
I would assume the hourly rate for an attorney would be considerably higher than the hourly rate for a clerical staff. though.
You're talking about hiring a full-time person at $35,000 versus boosting a salary from part-time to full-time at $35,000. You're talking about twice the amount of pay there.
I think the problem is she's just said she's already full-time to begin with, and we're paying her part-time wages. Even if you increase her wages, she's still full-time, and she still needs help, is what I think she was trying to say earlier.
The issue is, things have changed with how we have to practice here, with e-filing. My department is not the same as other departments. I have so many requirements on me for notice and other things that I have to have staff. I am not a secretary. I shouldn't be doing that work, but I have been doing that work for 17 years because of the budgetary concerns, as well as me trying to be fiscally conscious. I don't want to do that. I've had to push that off, or otherwise I'm not dealing with the cases the way that I need to be dealing with it. And I'm relegated to doing those other things. I do work nights, I do work weekends, and I do journal entries. I do all of those things. I'm very involved with every aspect, so I understand what you're saying, but I still need somebody to help me push the product. And that's what I have. I mean, I do have excellent employees. I understand that, and the county is very lucky to have them working with me in order to do that. But, I mean, we do need to be looking at that, so I'm open to the conversations, whatever they may be. Is there anything else about that issue?
Yeah, about that, is there any more on that issue?
No, I think, Aljo, you explained our concerns that we had talked about and why we arrived at the decision that we did with the budget for this year. So I don't really have anything to add. I've just thrown out my thoughts there, so that's all I have.
I guess I would just say that the Juvenile Detention Center just went through changing lawyers, and I was aghast at the cost increase that has occurred since the last one that was hired. Just having an attorney available is about $10,000 a year. And that's just having one available. That's not counting the time that he has to do things for us. That's an hourly rate. So I think maybe we are a little behind. I think it's a matter of how we're going to catch up, and I think we need to continue to have those discussions. The other concern I do have is that we're adding to law enforcement, but we're not adding to the county attorney. Law enforcement cannot be any better than our attorney, our county attorney. I guess they work together so closely, and I see that we're going to have to continue to address this problem. We just don't have the space to get law enforcement and the county attorney together, but probably in an ideal situation it would be.
And I understand that, and I am not in any way, shape, or form asking for that to occur today. I am well versed in Sheriff Weigel's thoughts on things, and we have had these discussions. I'm just saying, in a 5-year period, there has to be some discussion about this, and it is very logical to me that be looked at, because I would be overjoyed to have a full-time staff be in close proximity to the sheriff's office in an office that I can work out of. You know, and I have been a little reluctant, and I appreciate Alexis's thoughts. I've been a little reluctant to say pull the trigger on asking to be full-time because I don't think we're there yet. You know, I'm very efficient, I work very hard, and I think I'm able to kind of manage things, and I don't want to ask for things that I don't need. I just feel like, you know, with this e-filing, you know, even in Jewel County, I talked to Mr. Miller the other day, he may be adding a half-timer just to help with the e-filing. E-filing has not made it easier for us. It has created more work for our office, and we have taken the bulk of that from the sheriff's office in order to do. So I'll continue to do whatever I need to do, as this board knows that. But I will say that, you know, looking at that, if we're going to push in one direction, there's always an effect in my office.
Yeah.
And I just want that to be recognized and understood.
While that subject is still on the table, I think, you know, when we're talking about looking at the future, we do need to take into consideration the fact that Lincoln County has been a decreasing population steadily, and what we're looking at 5 or 10 years from now may not be the introduction of a law enforcement facility. We may be outsourcing many things. This type of consolidation is happening all over rural United States, and instead of indebting ourselves to prepare for some influx of high criminal activity and putting our resources into that kind of investment, we may need to be looking outside of the box there. I don't believe it's Lincoln County's responsibility to, you know, build something prepared to house all of its inhabitants in a criminal capacity.
No, Alexis, I'm not advocating for that. I don't want that. You know, I don't want some gigantic jail. I've never been for that. But what I do think is there needs to be appropriate offices. There needs to be an actual interview room that isn't the kitchen. There needs to be space for us to book people in, and there needs to be appropriateness regarding that facility. That's all I'm asking for. And if you're going to do something with that, however it may be, just think of me. Because if there's a way for me to be in that, to have an office in that, I just want the thought process and to be a part of that conversation. That's it.
I understand that. Yes, and maybe we should do a little more delving into that subject here in the near future.
Okay. Oh. Anything else? Alexis, why don't you express to Jennifer your concern about the nursing home?
Oh, okay. Thank you for reminding me. There is a state statute, Jennifer, it's 19-2106.
Yes.
And I'm not sure how that is to be applied as far as what our restrictions are financially on funding a home for the aged as it's stated in the statute.
I could look into that and provide some information to the board, and if the board is unsatisfied or wants a further opinion, we can always request something from the Attorney General's office as to an opinion. I would like to be able to consult with them first and provide as much information to you guys as possible so that it could be timely.
The deliberation is, number one, yes, we have funded it through the general fund, and there are two different approaches on the funding method that are stated in the statute, and one is by mill levy, something about 2 mills, which I know we'd be slightly above that at this point based on this year's budget. The other one is about a percentage. If it's funded out of the general fund, I believe is how that's. You'll have to take a look at it and maybe give us your preliminary opinion on where we stand with the options that are given as far as how the county is funding that.
No problem.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Okay. I believe we need to exec session for attorney-client dealing with a road situation. I guess my question is, Alexis, this is an executive session. We don't know who's listening. but I assume that you're there by yourself?
I am by myself, and I'm going to verbally object to the executive session because this is nothing has been presented to us in a formal manner. This was merely a memorandum of understanding was presented to us at 2 meetings ago, I believe it was, and all it did was state the reaction of the county commission board to the accusations of Mr. Snyder. So I'm not sure that that warrants an executive session.
I believe that memorandum has reached the county attorney's office.
I have received a call from counsel for Mr. Schneider. I have not met with him. If you wanted to discuss something as attorney-client with a full board present, as I would prefer to do it that way, I could take an opportunity this week to meet with Mr. Krangle, sorry, Mr. Krangle, and explore that. And if there was any information, then I could come back to the board and do that.
I do not, I guess my feeling is I do not think we want to publicly comment on anything at this point.
That is exactly my objection. I feel that the public should be made aware of how we're handling this road situation because it's been a point of contention and it's obviously been an ongoing issue with multiple matters. And if we do not show ourselves to be dealing with this directly and in the open, that's just going to be a bad mark on our appearance, and I don't want to be a part of that. I feel that there's nothing to hide. If we're going to address the situation according to his request or according to our defense of our own internal department and the way that they handled it, then that needs to be stated for all to know where we stand.
Well, and I'll disagree with you on that point. I think that there are issues that needs to be, for liability standpoint, the county discussed in attorney-client privilege. I'm not ready to do that today. I think Ms. Flew needs to be here and present in that chair before that happens. And I need an opportunity to explore what has been alleged and provided and follow up with Mr. Krangle.
It's the advice of the attorney. Is there anything else for Jennifer? Do you have anything, Jennifer?
No, I do not. I'll get to work on that other.
And is there anything else come before this board today? If not, this board stands adjourned until Monday morning.
Thank you.